Good morning. Today I'm releasing my first annual report of my second five-year term as Ombudsman. Normally the media and the public tend to view these reports as a kind of report card for the government for the past year, but this year I also want to look into the future. And I'm calling on the government to embrace something that I think is shaping the future of our democracy. I'm talking about the movement toward open government. Public access to technology has increased citizens' expectations about transparency, accessibility, and accountability in their government. People want information on what their government is doing. They want it to be easy to find, easy to understand, and they want it now. The new expectation of openness isn't what you get from filing a complicated access to information request or freedom of information request. This is literally last century. Today, the expectation is that information from the government should be available in real time, without asking. Public service should be open to the public by definition and by default. The problems that my office uncovers in government, the problems that we hear about from thousands of frustrated citizens every year, almost always has to do with secrecy or lack of transparency. The Ombudsman's job is to bring those problems to light and propose solutions. Les problèmes que mon bureau découvre au gouvernement, les problèmes dont nous parlent chaque année des milliers de citoyens frustrés, ont presque toujours pour source le secret ou le manque de transparence. Le rôle de l'Ombudsman, c'est de mettre en évidence ces problèmes et de proposer des solutions. This year, we all saw how destructive secrecy can be. Exactly a year ago this week, at the G20 summit in Toronto, we saw a massive violation of civil rights on our streets. Why? Because of a regulation under an obscure wartime law, passed secretly and then deliberately kept from the public to expand police powers of arrest and detainment. Protesters had no idea what they were walking into, and even police were confused about what the law actually said. People who had nothing to do with the G20 saw their civil rights suspended all over the city. Just think how much different it would have been if the government had been open about all this. At the very least, people would have had a fair warning that their rights were no longer what they believed them to be. More likely, the Public Works Protection Act and the new regulation would have been challenged, found contrary to the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and scrapped. And ultimately, that's what happened after investigation. The government is scrapping the law, and in the future will ensure the public is warned if there are any changes to police powers. We saw a similar epiphany after the Lynn investigation in the Hamilton-Niagara region. Even though the whole raison d'être for the Lynn is to bring the public closer to the decision-making process around hospitals and health services in the community, we found that Lynns across the province had adopted a bylaw allowing them to bar the public from their meetings if they were for, quote, educational purposes. This was illegal. When we shone the light on this, and on Lynn's members' mistaken idea that talking to people on the golf course consisted of public community engagement, the government took action. The illegal bylaws are gone, and Lynn's now have some guidelines on how to engage the public legitimately. Openness has brought about improvement. Today's report is full of other stories about how we've opened government problems to public view. From incomprehensible Hydro One bills to mishandled accounts to the Family Responsibility Office to poor treatment of vulnerable citizens at the little-known Office of the Public Guardian and Trustee. But my concern about open government today is also about bigger picture, about persuading government not just to fix the problems caused by secrecy, but to avert them by being more transparent as a rule. We have worked to do this in our own office through more open communication about our work and the use of technologies like social media and the web. We have a new web design going live this week. And this year, we've publicly posted complainant statistics for every riding in the province. Soon we'll have a web app as well so people can reach us from their smartphones and tablets. As I say in my report, public servants today need to see openness and transparency as the default position, as their creed. The province needs to do more than pay lip service to open government. Comme je le dis dans mon rapport, les fonctionnaires doivent actuellement faire de l'ouverture et de la transparence leur position par défaut et leur conviction intime. Le gouvernement ne doit pas se contenter de beaux discours sur l'ouverture. One way to do that would be to open up the MUSH sector to scrutiny. This year, once again, we've received almost 2,000 complaints about municipalities, universities, school boards, hospitals and long-term care, children's aid societies, and the police. And we could not deal with those complaints. We had to turn away people who raised serious issues like unsafe conditions in public housing, bullying in schools, neglect and abuse of long-term care residents, and incomplete investigations of child abuse, all because Ontario, unlike every other province in Canada, lacks independent ombudsman oversight of their crucial public services. I'm happy to talk more about that and about how my office hopes to promote open government. I'm confident that by embracing a broader vision of openness, we as public servants will not only better the public, we will enable the public to participate directly in making government work better. This is something that ombudsmen have been doing for centuries, and it's something I'm very excited about working on with the government for the next 4 years.